Welcome to Sacred Bond, the Divine Exchange, all about divine connection. Here we will explore and experience and chat about our personal spiritual practices that connect us directly to the divine. Alignment, intention, listening to our hearts, having conversations from the heart. A good old heart-to-heart natter where truth and feelings are honoured for the gifts that they are. This exchange idea came to me very recently, actually, born of a woman asking me quite skeptically in a class on Zoom, but how, Karen, do you know that you are? I mean, how? And although that triggered me, really triggered me, obviously, brought my A game back into center, took the breath, and I asked in the moment, yeah, how? And I got the word absolute. And it is that absolute for me, that knowing, and I'm sure we'll find out our guests' absolute too, when we know it's that voice, the one that we are to listen to and guides us. So there is no rule book, I'm afraid, the lady that asked me, there's no manual. And yet, how do we know? At the Divine Exchange, we'll discuss this. So sit back and let this telephonist connect you. So putting you through, may I firstly say thank you so much for answering the call. Thank you so much for saying yes, John. Thank you so much for being all of you, giving all of you. And, you know, I'm a newbie here. I have an idea. I have a spiritual baby, and I really would like others to share in what we're going to get through. By the way, that was all not written here. It just came to me, but you are the sort of guy that goes there unashamed, you know, without any hesitation, no fear. You get people, you laugh and you cry alongside all of your listeners and all of the spiritual superstars that you get on your show. You have that up close and personal touch, and others are touched by you and moved. You bring your tribe together in light, the living in the extraordinary tribe, and the healers, the channelers, all these people that you are bringing to the world. I mean, we are so grateful because you have given your babies to us, and I mean, just think how big your generation is, your spiritual generation that BTO has created. So I've gone off piece. So you, this beautiful soul of a man, this extraordinary spiritual impresario, is here with us today to share his heart, his vision, and lots of everything, really. So it's my great delight to share this launch of my Sacred Bond Divine Exchange with who better than my guest to launch this. I am thrilled at the Divine Exchange to introduce my guest. His name? Burgos. John Burgos. Did I say that right?
You did. Burgos is,
Burgos.
yes.
It's very
But I
important.
confused you earlier, so you're amazing.
So I'd just like to say thank you and welcome. And it's a heart to heart. I think I'd like to start rather on the spiritual side of thing, how we bring spirituality into everyday life, because I do a lot of talking with students at universities, and you are an example of turning a spiritual business into a global phenomenon. You bring together the best, and it's profit making, and it is how do you do it? How can we, you know, show other spiritual entrepreneurs that it's possible?
I think your introduction was so indicative of the answer to that question. And it starts more of the why instead of the how. And the why, there's something that arises in you that you know you have to share with other people. It's just so alive. You may not be able to describe the how it's happening to someone who sits next to you, but how is this coming through? How can you prove it? But you feel that welling of that why within your heart and stirring, and it can't help but to express. It wells up in you so much that you have to purge it, if you will, from your system to give it to others. You just know you're compelled. And your introduction and your why of this particular endeavor that you're in, and how that is lighting up my emotions, that's where we know that we're on to something. That's how we know that we're on to something. And so my why I started this platform called Beyond the Ordinary, who's led me to all of these different amazing places and connected me with the most incredible people that I've met in all my life, including you. Um, Maybe especially you in some cases.
You still got
Because
it.
you make me laugh as well. And so many other reasons. Um, but when we know our why, the how unfolds. It just does. And there is a clear sense in that why. I didn't know how I was going to bring this out. I knew that other people were having conversations and interviewing spiritual mentors and transformational leaders and personal development coaches, and I knew that there was something in me that my life had changed so much because these deep practices that I were in, that I had discovered, seemingly randomly, but they weren't random. It was just the right time. I was ripe to receive them. And because of that ripeness, I was open to a transformation that was ready to take place inside of me. I wasn't trying to change the world. I was just in my lane, humbly knowing that there had to be something more in life than what I was experiencing, even though I had success in the way so many people would define success. But there was still another calling and yearning that didn't supersede the gifts that I was receiving, that I was such the benefactor of. But there was yet another calling. And it's because of those tools, they opened something up within me. I had an action taking ability. I was motivated. I was ignited. I found passion in something that as I started incorporating in my life, that my life started to broaden in ways that I never had anticipated or was never taught to anticipate. Unless I worked really hard, unless I was grinding all the time at work, trying to climb the ladder, trying to do the success story in the way that we're taught that we're supposed to do it. Which in a lot of ways is mortgage your happiness until something, and maybe you'll discover it at some other time and be able to sustain it. And so my inspiration was to share these tools that I learned with other people. How can I bring these to more people other than just through me? But then also with the humility and understanding and the intelligence to know if these tools work for me, who else is teaching other modalities, other ways of shifting our consciousness and opening our hearts? And let me collaborate with those people. And so the how came because of an alignment took place within me. And then I had to be bold enough to take the steps and start creating something without losing myself in the process. And then it's in the taking the steps and trusting and being bold.
It's a
Being
great word,
bold.
huh?
Mhm. That that doors open that otherwise wouldn't have. I didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I didn't quit jobs or do things. It's just I supported myself well. It wasn't an either or. I knew that I had the resources to sustain while the business grew. But the miraculous part was that the business grew exponentially from the beginning. And that's because I followed a good model. I didn't recreate the wheel completely, but I made it mine. It was proven, and I followed my heart. I was reaching out to speakers and to luminaries in the spiritual community, um, who were booked 6 months to a year out for anything. And I'd call them and it's like, I'm starting my show in 6 weeks. Will you be on? And I consistently kept having doors opening for me with yeses. And with the same response coming over and over again, synchronicity at place. We don't know why, but we have to say yes. This isn't usual for us. That was a consistent response. And that's sharing from a heart place. That's sharing from authenticity. That's sharing from vulnerability, but also with a lot of strength of knowing of why I was creating, knowing that the how would unfold.
So that's surrender and trust I'm hearing there.
You summed that up in 2 seconds, what I told you in about 10. Yes. Mhm.
I learned from a great guy. Yeah, what I'm feeling now, because in the recent days, I've been listening back to interviews that you've done yourself, conducted and been in. And it struck me, I had to just check the dates on some of them, because I was thinking, yeah, I know that. But it was 6 years ago, some of this stuff, where, say, you were interviewing Lee Harris and you were talking about grounding yourself, finding quiet time, taking time out. I mean, you should go back and listen to some of this. And it's like, the world's a bit crazy out there. It's really important to get centered. It's really important to find silence. And as I'm listening, going, well, actually, that's pre-COVID. And I feel that when COVID came, it was actually what the spiritual community, like the conversation that I was hearing there, but that you'd opened up, that, yeah, we did need quiet time, but people weren't getting that. So what did they do upstairs?
Yes.
COVID, and now we've got people working from home. I've gone off piste a little bit. Sorry, I do that.
I
But
love it.
I'm finding that now, like now, in the recent, like I'd say 2 months, it's really building this sort of knowing that actually this is I am so trusting myself. I know you are. And it's like a superpower we have to have so that we can then go with the flow and be flexible and feel it, because things are changing, aren't they? Do you get that feeling?
Oh, 100%. And what the call really is, well, it's been all along, but we're feeling it that much more strongly and we're being empowered in it because of the consciousness that we have awoken along the way. But that calling to go within is amplifying. Why is it amplifying? Because we're at a crucial time in humanity where we can't look to leaders outside of us to tell us what to do, and we can't acquiesce our knowing because we feel safer or more comfortable, or we're too lazy, or we've been entrained to listen to other people. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it, and don't make me think for myself.
Yeah, show
We're
me the rule
really,
book.
yeah, show me the rule book. We're really being guided. Now we're maturing to a place where we know that we have to go in. We have to create from our own source of consciousness. We're not creating the changes that we wish to see in the world, the waiting for those that are designated to make those changes. But what's also happening is we're catching up, or science is catching up with us, perhaps. We realize that the impact that we have energetically that ripples out and influences others is more powerful than we've ever anticipated. So as we get clear within ourselves, then that ripple forms and goes out into a consciousness that can be received and acclimated into a new reality. And again, we've been waiting for the circumstances to change us, and that's not how it works. And so it has to come from the individuals because we are powerful creators. We've just been given our creativity or that power to something else, and that power has been using it to create what it deemed appropriate. But again, we're coming back home to ourselves. That's the quiet time. And we're finding out very quickly as the energies are shifting, that what we think, what we speak, how we interact with others very quickly materializes in those things that we want to see in our direct lives, but also in those things that we don't want to see in our lives. So we're adjusting and attuning because of this increased empathy and psychic intuition that we're fostering within ourselves to become sensitive enough to understand the implications of our actions and our words and the emotions that we put out into the world.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I could go so many different ways from that with you. When you said, or let people go, or not let people go, but or that we don't want to see in our lives, I find that as we grow, or as we step more into our truth unapologetically, which doesn't have to be loud or hard, you know, sometimes, quite often, it's quiet, and it's, you know, the people that are souls of the party, that actually they notice the difference because it's quieter. And when they do speak, when I say they, I'm using me as an example, you see people react differently, and some just can't take it and start kicking off, like, what, you know, and because it's not the right vibration, it's really holding a mirror to them that they don't like the reflection of. And yet when you hold the mirror, that mirror, and you're with the person who's got that vibration, you know, it's just easy. There's nothing to do, there's no effort, and that's sort of the path then you follow. So those people that don't resonate, I don't get rid of them, but I find they drop away because they just have to, and I have to allow them. I have to go, yeah, the door's over there.
Yeah, well, we're finding the harmonics again. When that resonance is there, it's a beautiful symphony. It's like you can feel it. It's like,
Mm,
of course, and it enlivens you, it enlivens the other person. There's a deep bond
mm.
that happens in being feeling like you're so deeply understood and received, and in understanding and receiving in others. So that camaraderie is really important. But when the discord is there, it creates a field that there's a magnetic pulling away. So again, we're pulling from our hearts, we're leading from this center of space. And if your magnetic is aligned with someone else, it's going to attract. And if it isn't, the opposite poles are going to be at play, and it'll resist.
Mm.
And how beautiful that it's happening that way for us so naturally, as easily as the magnetic poles. Because what's truly for us will gravitate towards us. And we're learning that we can't fight those discordant magnetic poles anymore, the ones that are separating us. There's no sense in trying to unite them because they're not supposed to match right now.
I get
We
that.
don't have to judge that. We actually gracefully
Mm.
understand, always keeping our doors open to the possibility. It's never creating separation for the sake of ego, but being curious and being graceful in the invitation for a union to come together in cohesion, as far as human to human, as far as bringing together the ability to be in unity, where we honor and respect each other and hold each other in dignity.
Absolutely. I think you've married two of my questions that I'm going to try and pop together here, because also just watching your body language, you know, and the pull and the push, it reminds me of, and this is an energy that has come to me, and I know you love water and you feel the pull to water. I've sort of never quite got it because I'm a fire sign. So, you know, like, but yeah, I'm in my water phase. I do find that the connection for me, you know, the how we connect with the divine. If I imagine water or I'm by water, bosh, I'm there. You know, and it's just got something. And even the sunlight on the top of it and how it moves, it's like, okay, I know these are codes. I don't know what they are, but I sort of do know what they are now. But I digress. So this meditation, which it's not one I'm leading, but it happened to me. I was woken up from my hotel bedroom in Thailand in January, and the light kept going off, and I thought, what's going on? What's going on? And then finally it dawned, They want me up. Why do they want me up? You know, look. And then, is it dawn yet? No, it's not. I haven't been on the beach. I knew where two tides met, and I was there in between two tides meeting from different oceans, literally the spine of sand sitting on it. And I sat and I meditated and I watched the pink, it was a hot pink sun come up. And like the stuff that was coming through was very gentle. It wasn't clear. It wasn't clarity, but I call it, I'm still working with it because I work with that meditation every morning. I'm there on that beach every morning. And in fact, a guy comes past, and true. When I opened my eyes, a guy turned up walking down with about 100 dogs. Well, it wasn't, it was 8. But, and I thought, what have dogs got to do with me and my future, but something. And so I chat with him in my meditation, and he's a guide.
Wow.
And I told a friend, and they said, well, what's this guy called? And I said, I think it's John. I just said that, right? And they said, yeah, it's John. Work with that. It's John. And it's a mentor I'm working with who said, yeah, that's the name. I just share that, obviously, but it's the ebb and flow. But for me, it's the in between. There's something else. There's something more. It's in the blend, this blend for me. And then that leads me on to the masculine and feminine unity within one person that we could go on to just explore a little.
Absolutely. It's profound.
Yeah. Because for me, I've neglected the feminine side for a long time, I realize, which is ironic. And I know that you have been brought up and surrounded by women. And yeah, I mean, you're a beautiful soul, and you have just got that empathy with women. And yet you have now, when I say now, I mean, you're embracing your manhood. I've heard you discuss it. And you know, you're really enjoying that. So with the word maturing that you used earlier on, is that something that is growing? And how do you, I don't know, just share? I haven't really given you a question. I'm just want to explore a bit further myself. See what it's all
I
about.
love the questions that aren't asking questions.
Thank you.
Let's riff in this because it creates such beautiful openings.
Okay.
Because we don't have to necessarily project in a direction, and it goes and it's where it wants to go. So thank you for that invitation and that trust. But I have to share, it's the reason I embrace so much of the feminine is because I saw the nurturance and the safety that the feminine energy provided to me when I was growing up. And so whether I realize it or not, I think sometimes I realized it. But I was pushing the masculine away because the examples, my interpretation of the examples of the men in my life, I didn't necessarily want to be like them. They loved their wives or the women that they were with, but then they wouldn't treat them well. They were addicted. They were volatile. They were confusing in so many ways. And they'd show up in a strong presence, but then that something would take it away. A temptation would take it away, whether it was alcohol or whether it was sensuality for something else. And it's a very cultural thing, but it wasn't safe. There was a lot of emotional abuse that I witnessed. And in the witnessing, it almost made it worse because I was deemed helpless in doing anything as a child. I almost would have rathered, or the story would be that harshness be turned on to me because at least I'd know what to do with it. But that wasn't the case. I got to be a bystander, never fearing that anything would ever happen to me. Never. That love was always there, that I wouldn't be harmed in such a drastic physical way. But that really didn't mean anything because the women that I love so much were being harmed on a continuous basis, relentlessly. And it was, if it was even a consistent type of regression, then at least I would have known the devil that I was dealing with. But it was so sporadic. It was so up and down. You just never knew where it was going to come from. So the shock of that, the shock of feeling safe for love and thinking you can relax, and boom, there it goes, spiking again. So again, making a long story shorter, it's just the trust for the masculine wasn't really there because of my experience. So I leaned into the nurturance. And as I created a vow to show up for the feminine, I also neglected a lot of my own masculine aspects. I neglected them because if I couldn't be that masculine, because then the woman wouldn't feel safe. I can't allow my anger to come up. I can't allow my full sexual expression to be articulated, because then the woman's going to feel like something's going to come in and harm her. So there's always this push and pull that navigated my life, where I carefully tiptoed around making sure that I was something for the feminine, but at the same time, neglecting myself.
Mm.
And in that, neglecting aspects of my life, some people couldn't really get to know me. Why? Because I wasn't expressing parts of myself, and they can feel it. There was an inauthenticity, whether I knew it or not. It certainly wasn't my intention, but I think energetically, others could pick up on it.
Mm.
So the full expression, the fullest expression, our full expression, that's still yet to be discovered. But the fullest expression possible at that time, I was holding back. I was holding my breath. I wasn't allowing it to come through. And through the work that I've done over the years, again, the dam broke open, I'd say 15, 20 years ago. And it's like different things started shifting, but it was through a ceremony probably that I did about 7 years ago, that I went in, and something cracked differently. Something about really accepting that masculine energy just started to flood into my being. And again, it was there, but not as fully as it was presenting itself. And after that particular ceremony, after I arrived back on the island here on Hawaii, even friends was like, wow, you look different. There's something different about you. It's like, yeah, it's like there's something of accepting myself that has shifted who I believe myself to be, how I betrayed that belief out into the world. And it's undeniable. Energetically, others were reflecting back to me that opening that took place. And from there, it's been an amazing road of merging and bridging that masculine and feminine within myself. But one of my favorite quotes that I received from my guides, and I love putting it out there, is that sometimes the most masculine thing that a man can do is to embrace his femininity.
Yeah.
But I had done that all my life, and it was time to really embrace my masculinity in ways that I hadn't explored before.
Well, I'm glad that you've grabbed it with both hands, because that's why you are the epitome of my sacred bond and the perfect person to launch with. But how about that actually going sideways? You know, sacred bond for me obviously is linked back to James Bond, because I was in a James Bond film and I was a James Bond girl. I mean, you know, that's just and but here today and now, wouldn't that just, well, it is, it's happening. You know, guys, if they follow in your footsteps, can embrace this femininity. Girls like me, can embrace both sides of us as well. Instead of being the wounded or the angry, or is it the bitter female, then you've got this masculine side that comes out, and it's all, you know, which, you know, I was very much like I can do anything better than you know, and all of that. And that's not that attractive, especially when it goes on and on and on and on. And, you know, so the gentler side, the peaceful side, I think, oh, I heard recently, and it was, is it called gentle ferocity? I heard it in a poem. I love my poems. And these two words together, gentle ferocity. I mean, I can feel that from both of us the other way round, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's the power's there, the love's there. And as you say, all possibilities are there.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
really are. And you know, we could even break it down, and I want to say on, you know, I love this conversation of the masculine and the feminine and the union that's taking place. And we put so many labels on things to make it sense. And if it's just we're coming into balance and we go to, in our expression, we have the propensity to go to one end of the spectrum and kind of live there and try it on and get comfortable there and and beautifully and innocently try to control our lives from
Well,
that left of each spectrum until we realize that, you know, something's got to change. This worked for a little bit, but it's not satisfying me anymore. It's not bringing the type of relationships that I want. It's not, there's got to be something else. And again, the awakening consciousness is bringing us the flows of that water streaming down the mountaintops or bringing us into this beautiful place that we can't help but to explore what that balance may feel like.
you may remember, or you may not remember, but I do. In session with you, when you, because you now and again open up your books to do mentoring, and I was lucky enough to step forward, and that was a big step forward back then, which would have been 10 years ago or something, I think. And I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh no, here we go. And then in sessions, I would get stuff for you if I'd show you a
Oh yeah.
card. And then I'd channel stuff as well, because you taught me automatic writing, which I share with other people too. But one thing came through, and it was, you have your own new silver stream. And at the time, I couldn't quite work it out. And I was told you about it. I said, you've got your own stream coming. It's yours. And it's silver. And, you know, talking of ebb and flow and water, I just think, yeah, he's on it. It's his. It's, you know, I don't know what I'm saying, but I think you got something out of it.
Well, I definitely got something out of it. And you're channeling how you've embraced that. And to get into that channeling state,
Yeah.
to really surrender, that's a very feminine quality.
Oh,
It's not a doing, attaining, putting it out, which is a beautiful masculine quality. But the feminine has to go within herself. She has to be open to settle in, to gestate, and to allow the stream to flow in through her. So as you've embraced more of your femininity, and I can't imagine you not being feminine. Oh my God. But I understand what you're saying in different ways, in the ways that, again, we create our section of the world and the energy that we use to create that. But as you were surrendering more to and relaxing into the grace of your femininity, more of your channeling started to come through, more of your permission to receive that. And because of your receptivity and how it was filling you, you couldn't help but to begin to share in ways that perhaps you hadn't before, which has been amazing.
yeah. Share, you know, sharing is that's quite a big thing to do. Oh, it's a huge thing for me to do. And here I am.
Yeah, it's been
Get out the
amazing.
way. I'm here to share. I would love to, you see, one thing I don't know, and we're all seekers. Well, I'm a seeker. You know, my surname's Seeberg. I'm a seeker for sure. But the shamanic experience that I experienced with some work that you did with me, I know you're big on the shamanic. I know that you've had a profound experience recently, which I'm going to ask you about. And just to share how things happened with me, with you, I left a session once, and we are talking years ago, but, you know, profound moments happen, and, you know, they make us up. They don't leave us. They're sort of, they're part of the DNA. And I did explain it to you, but literally walking on the golf course the day after with my dogs. I don't play golf. Don't even think I play golf because I don't. And it just somebody came, you know, a spirit came out of the ether. Literally, something came out at me in the sky beside me and gave me a bow and arrow. And I thought, oh God, it is my angels because they've got a sense of humor and I'm Sagittarius. And I'm going, really? Not now. I'm walking the dogs. Seriously. What? You know, and also we'd had a bad session and it didn't work. And I felt so let down and I didn't cry, not for you, but I didn't cry in it. And I knew I needed to cry, but I wouldn't cry. Anyway, so that's, and I'm going, really? No, go away. And then I'm thinking I'm mad, you know, I'm on a golf course thinking, nope, finally they go, it's for you. So I took it. I'm going, yeah, now what? And there was a tree and I knew it was my father's tree because I knew that. And it's, yeah, I could nearly go, yeah, it's for me over here. And I looked and my father was sitting underneath it. And you know, he's an absent father. He left us all when we were 11, you know, it happens. And he sat there. And as I looked at him, I'm going, this can't be happening. What is going on? He put an apple on his head. And I'm going, no, this is ridiculous. And then I heard the words. Honestly, I heard these words. Well, actually, it was from him, but I heard, I trust in your aim. So I picked up that bow and arrow and I shot him through the heart.
Wow. I remember that.
I didn't expect that. And the weirdest thing after that, it was split-second stuff. Up went all this sort of confetti-ish imagery disappearing higher and higher. And I heard so much clapping and I heard his voice saying, she's my daughter, she's my daughter.
Wow.
So I share that with you because that's what you do for other people. And, you know, whatever you did in that session the day before, when I explained it to you back then, you said, oh, that was your shamanic release of whatever. Because you know, it's good for people that aren't in the spiritual world, not every day, to understand what this work can do for us. And of course, by me being able to unconsciously or consciously forgive my father, it opens stuff up for me. So how about you with your shamanic experience that you've recently had, that I heard about in an interview? Because I'd like to understand it more. I'd like to feel it.
Oh, I've had so many different shamanic experiences, and they seem to be accumulating in different ways. Which one are you referring to? Can you give me some context?
Oh, it was so recent. Then that's why I'm asking you about it, because I didn't get it and I wanted to get it about this. Oh, I know. There was apparently a tribe of people came in and nobody else saw them. I don't know what country you were in.
Oh, that experience. Okay. That's when I was in Peru. That was about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I was in Peru, and this whole journey unfolded for me because someone asked me, where haven't you traveled to that you want to travel to eventually? And this was about 6 months before my 50th birthday. I was in Arizona having dinner, and that innocent question brought in this awareness that just lit me up, that I knew that I was going to the Amazon in Peru for an initiation. And I didn't know what the initiation was going to be. All I knew is that I heard, I'm going. It's an initiation, not to ask anyone what it should be, not to have a judgment or a preconception, even though I had a preconception of what it might be, which I thought I was going to meet some tribe. They're going to bury me in the jungle, put a straw in my mouth, and leave me there for 3 days. That's what I thought a shamanic initiation was.
Nice image, thanks.
I was like, okay. And over a 4-month period, the journey started revealing itself through so many synchronistic events that just kept lighting up in the field. But I was paying attention. I wasn't looking for them, but I was paying attention. And it guided me to an ayahuasca center in Iquitos, Peru, where I sat with a tribe called called the Shipibo tribe. They're indigenous to different sections of Peru and the Amazon. Um, and I was taken through different ayahuasca ceremonies. And in one of the ayahuasca ceremonies, I was just laying back, and I was flying to different realms. Um, the beautiful part about flying to those realms is they felt very familiar to me. And I believe they felt familiar to me because of all of the other, we'll call it work or experiences that I've had before, connecting with spirit in meditation, through breath work, being still, having conversations like this, that I've been to in dream time. I've been to those places, but without the assistance of a psychedelic. And the psychedelic felt like it's speeding the process and maybe polished off some of the lenses of things that I couldn't see before. Um, and so again, I was in this very shamanic, multi-dimensional, visionary place, having beautiful experiences of connecting with God and connecting with parts of myself that I was healing in different ways, which were profound, difficult, and beautiful all at the same time. But in that ceremony, I leaned back and the maestro who was guiding the ceremony, there was about 7 maestros there singing these beautiful plant songs. So they channel the plants from the Amazon that bring in photonic light,
Oh.
that bring in healing into your heart and into your body. And then they connect you with the consciousness of the earth to help you purge what doesn't serve you anymore. So it's beautiful how they really connected, so sacred, truly, if you really understand what they're doing and how they're doing and the training that they have to go through and then the consciousness that they're bringing through. But I'm in this ceremony and the maestro's setting up behind me. It's pitch black. You can't see anything in that room. And they're singing the songs. And it's my turn for this particular maestro to sing into my crown, into the top of my head. And I had experienced it a few times before, and it was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, I was so excited it was going to be my turn. I can hear him.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Getting settled in. And as he settles in, I'm laying on the ground on the mat. I'm smiling at this point because it's my turn to get this beautiful transmission. Um, and one of his assistants starts setting up next to him because I can hear him. And I saw his shawl that he was wearing. And as the assistant sits down, he goes to light up a sacred tobacco that they blow to help clear energy. And as he lights up the tobacco, I see the flame from the lighter light up his face, and I can see the shaman behind me. And I'm just looking back thinking, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe that I'm here. How blessed am I? And I put my head back down and the shaman starts singing into my head. And as he's singing into my head, the assistant lights up another batch of the tobacco to take another drag of it to blow healing smoke. I mean, as he lights it up, I look at the maestro, I look at the assistant, and in between them is this huge figure of a man looking down on me, and I'm intimidated by this energy. It's like, who is this person and why is he here? And I look back and it's like my brain starts scrambling. So what is this? And all I can think of in that moment was to try to say, and it was in my mind, but I couldn't spit it out. If you're not of the light, you need to leave. And I kept trying to say it in the words, but I was so under the medicine that it was hard. And finally, I managed to say it in Spanish. Si no eres de la luz, te tienes que ir. I closed my eyes, looked back up. He was gone.
He was Spanish.
He was Spanish. He was Spanish. He understood that one. And then in that same ceremony, and again, these ceremonies last hours, and I think that one probably lasted a good 6 hours. I needed assistance to help myself to the loo, as you say.
Yes.
And so there's this big circular enclosure that 23 of us are doing ceremony in. So I have to walk around. Someone walks me around to the front door. And again, we're in the jungle in this like wooden frame type of tamba, they called it. And the loo is about 25 feet in front of me. And there's some steps that get down to it. And there's typically guardians, people out there to assist us because they know a lot of us will need help getting there. The second I walked out the door, I told whoever was helping me out of that facility, I'm okay, you can go back in, thank you. But the second he let go of me, whoever was standing outside, They all scattered. There was like 5 people. They all left, like gone. The whole field cleared. It's like, oh, this is weird. And I started to take my first step down that step, 3 wooden steps going to the bathroom. And I see this figure out of the corner of my eye in the periphery start running to me. And I can tell it's a woman. And I just turn slightly and I see her. She's dressed in this indigenous dress. She doesn't have a top on. She has this staff that she's running with. And she's running right straight to me. And within seconds, she's standing right in front of me, looking me in the eyes. Just this cold glaze. Like
Oh,
who are you? Who are you?
yeah.
Didn't say a word. And I'm standing there and I look and I go, this is so cool. Wow. This center really knows how to bring these indigenous people into the experience. Like I chose well to come where they really bring in the true nature of the indigenous wisdom and who carries it as ancestors of something that's been passed down for generations. I was so impressed, but as she's looking at me, I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I was like, I'll be right back. I go to the bathroom. I leave and she's gone. I lay back down. I somehow in the dark find my mat, throw myself back down and go through the rest of my experience. Um, it was amazing. We woke up and I came through from that experience and we're packing up so that we can go back to our individual rooms at about 2 o'clock in the morning now. And I'm asking everybody, oh my God, did you see the tribe that came in to assist with our experience? No, what are you talking about? You mean the people who are helping us go outside? It's like, no, the people dressed in white. It's like, no, the natives. Like, no, we don't know what you're talking about. Ask the maestros in the morning. And I asked the maestros in the morning, who are those people from the tribe? Like, well, what did you see? And I described it to them. Like, yeah, sometimes the elementals come in to facilitate you because you're going through a profound shift. And that answer was somewhat satisfactory, but not completely because these people that I saw, this man and this woman, were so real. If you were here next to me, Karen, I could reach out and hug you, and that's how in the flesh they were for me. And I traveled a few weeks later to Sacred Valley in Peru and asked another shaman there, and they pretty much told me the same thing. It's like, no, that doesn't seem right. Something else happened. And it was later when I arrived back on the island that I had a few very profound sessions with channels and psychics that have been on the show that I'm dear friends with and I trust their vision. And 2 of them separately told me the same thing. It's like, oh, they didn't come to you. You went into their world in that experience. You went into their world in that experience. So you traveled in through other dimensions because you were so open and had that access. And they were wondering what you were doing there.
Okay, that's the bit of the puzzle I hadn't got. No, and also this woman looking at you, you said with a cold look.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I didn't get that. And I was going to ask you, what did that mean? But I'm getting now that you went there. No wonder she went, who are you? Like,
Yeah,
who are
both of them.
you?
And this shaman chief leader, whatever it was, he had tremendous amount of power. He was intimidating. Um, and no wonder I felt the intimidation energy not to welcome him because I had transversed into their world. Whether I was invited or not, I don't know. I don't think I could have gone there uninvited. Um, but I was definitely tapping into something. Um, and it's a wonderful story to tell and a wonderful experience. But what I also understood after from that experience is that I was also acclimating and being trained in how to tap into different realms through different portals and be with the wisdom, be what was there and somehow share something of myself or ourselves in that time, but also bring something back. And I find it really important that we understand that wherever we travel somewhere, whether it be psychically or physically, whenever we're in connection with something else, that we have to understand it's not that we're going there to get something only, which we are, but it's also that we're leaving something there as well. And when we understand that, we really approach all of our travels with a reverence that I think needs to be taught in our society again.
It sounds like, dare I say, a divine exchange.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a divine exchange. I mean, that's remarkable. And thank you very much for bringing it to life for me and understanding that last piece of the puzzle that you went into them. So it brings me on to your younger self. I can't leave that without, because as well as you saying yes to coming on this launch show for Sacred Bond, I've been getting, because as I say, now is the time and things come through to us and we feel them. And I've been working with, and I'll pull mine out. I haven't got one of yours printed out, but you gave me 4 photos. I said, we were looking at great photos of each other together, like, yeah, these would be good photos. And then I went, oh, by the way, have you got a shot of yourself when you're about, 4, 7, 10 years old, something like that? And then I thought, oh, perhaps now I'll lose the interview, triggered all that, oh, am I worthy? And you know what? That's not happening so much anymore. It's like, what'll be will be. And it was genuine. So I just want to share this, which we'll probably put up later. But
Love
this little
that.
girl, little Karen, she just said, would little John come out on a play date, really? Because I got so much when I went to this space. And she has so much wisdom. And she's now my CEO. That is the CEO of Sacred Bond.
Wow.
Okay. So don't mess
Nice.
with her. She's a cool little cookie. And so then I thought, right, well, who is, well, there you go. I'm repeating what the lady said, what the native said. Who are you? Who is John? And you supplied me with 4 lovely shots, which I can put up and show people. And you weren't sure which one you'd picked as the one, because I said, which one resonates with you? I know which one resonates with me, but I wanted you to have a feel into and see which one was talking to you out of the 4 pictures of you when you were little, younger.
It's funny because they all resonate, and I can feel different parts of myself in all of them.
Right.
And there's one where I have, you call it a cricket sweater.
I did, yeah. I'm going to try and pull them up here, so at least we've got
And
something.
I've got it here. You asked me to pull it up, so
Oh, I did. Oh, look, you did. You've
that
got
one
that
is the
one.
cricket sweater.
Oh,
And
hello.
so,
I think, look, hello. I just want,
yeah,
look,
pulled up
little
the black
one.
and white. So I thought, it's.
Look.
Mhm.
I know. So is this your favorite, or are you going to go through them and tell me? Because, oh, how old were you there?
I was probably about 4 years old in this picture.
Oh, wow. Right.
So pretty young. Yeah. Is it dated in the back? No. Um, and in that picture, that's just me on wide open. That's me feeling loved, being received. It's he should be my CEO, because truly the guidance is we need to have more fun. We need to play more. We need to open more. We need to be in that. It would behoove us to be in that innocence, to be that open and available for the
That's,
wonder that the world really has to give to us.
yeah, you said open.
Mhm.
And also I see forward going in that.
Yes.
That's someone that's like, bring it. It's not like, it's not even bring it on, because that wouldn't have been in that youngster's vocabulary, but it's like, I'm here, I'm coming, more. I mean, it's moving
It's leaning
forward.
in. I'm
It's
leaning in.
leaning in, leaning
Yeah.
in. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, that is pure joy, but there's more to it than that, isn't there? There's this
There's a connection. There's a aliveness
aliveness.
in that being. It's that spark. Um,
You said at the top of the show, you talked about, what lights us up.
mhm.
I mean, that is a picture of someone being lit up.
Yeah.
But that, I'm sure you get lit up in it as a 4-year-old every moment of every day. You know, you look great. Did you have another favorite, or would you like to know which one I picked?
I
Or
want to know
both?
which one you
We can
chose.
do all.
Yes,
We can do them all. By the way, one of them I thought looked totally like an oil painting. Did I tell you that?
you did. Yes.
Because I showed it to an artist friend of mine and I said, I think this is an oil painting. And he said, it looks like it should be on canvas. Sorry, we're not sharing it with, just to show, I can put a still of that later. But the way everybody's languid, they're all languid
Mm.
around you. They're all men. And then
They're
there
all
you
men.
are, and there you are in the middle going, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Free as a lark. And then the one that I just wanted to discuss because I want to know a little bit. Have you got this one? That one up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Have you got
Hmm.
that one?
I have it right here in front of me.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Can you let's have a look. Oh look. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh look. Now listen, if you hadn't got like 95% of your listeners falling in love with you already, you've got the lot now. I mean this little guy here, you know, you're not smiling and you're, you know, whenever we think of you, you are
Mm.
the most fabulous smile. A bit like, you know, Princess Diana, she had an electric smile. So do you. This one caught my eye because you're thinking. That's the first time I saw as a youngster, you're actually taking things on board. I love the fact that you're in an armchair and you're wearing a polo neck. I think this is the young Bond for sure. How do you feel, this little chap? How does he feel to you? Do you remember what you were thinking or?
Oh yeah. I
Right.
remember. I remember what was happening in that day. At least my interpretation of it.
Oh, okay.
This was. This is actually really tender. Um, and this reminds me how confusing life could be in this picture because it didn't make sense. I remember my parents having one of their knockdown, drag out fights the evening before, and it was pretty bad. Um, and the next day we were supposed to go get pictures with a photographer.
Oh,
And it was just us. It wasn't a family picture. And my mom was taking us to the appointments and dragging us around and getting us ready for different things. And it didn't make sense to me. So how can we pretend that this other thing didn't happen when it did? It was confusing. It didn't feel right. It wasn't authentic. Um, Even to this day, as I talk about it and I feel into the picture, it still spins me out a little bit. There's so much forgiveness and understanding that's taken place in understanding of what came up when it did. But when I tune into him, it's like I just want to bring him back home and let him know that everything's okay. Still to this day.
so
Um,
have you worked with this picture before, or has it just come into your life again because I asked you to look through drawers for pictures?
well, I've definitely noticed several times what was happening in that picture and coming to resolution with it. But even as we talk about it now,
Mm.
uh,
It
it is bringing another version
My heart's pounding.
of of the court of separation and confusion that
Mm.
that
So
that little boy didn't deserve to be experiencing for sure. But it was definitely part of his journey.
so may I be bold and ask you, our lovely young John there, was he known as John? Was that your name then?
John Paul.
John Paul. So they called you John Paul.
Yeah.
So this is John Paul. I need to look at it. Well, you know, I can't share it, but I'm sure we can put it up. Is when you look at him now and you feel what you've explained with me, which I can feel. What is he asking? What if you could say to him, John Paul,
Hmm.
how can I, no, I'm just trying to get the word because you're so grown up, even though you're little, and you've already put all the shutters down. But I'm trying to get through to this John Paul. John Paul. Yeah, gosh, it's actually really difficult. If you feel into John Paul, but actually ask him, look, you're John here. You're here today, John, as you, with it. And he is John Paul. Go to him as you and say, and put your hand out and just go, I'm going to take your hand, John Paul, and I'm going to take you to a safe place, a lovely safe place, where there are loads of possibilities and lots of safety. What would, will you take my hand? And if you won't, what can I give you to take my hand to come with me?
I can tell you immediately.
Okay.
His response is, just tell me the truth.
Yeah.
Let's not tell me that. And because until I have the truth, it's just going to keep happening again. He needs the truth. It can't be bypassed and sugar coated and covered up
Okay, so can you give him the truth?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You can give him the truth now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a loud thing. I mean, obviously you can give him the truth now.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at John Paul and give him the truth. The truth. Okay. And just give him the truth. And has he changed his stance? Has he moved a little bit? Is he coming towards you? Or arms folded a bit more? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm tuning into him.
Yeah. Shut your eyes if you want. Or look at his face. Yeah, shut your eyes. There you go. How's he feeling?
He's feeling that he wants the truth, not a version of the truth.
So you, as you, John, now, are you able to give him the truth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So whatever that represents, whether it's information you're giving him or is this...
Well, what's happening in this, Karen, is that we're actually guiding through and recovering deeper truths through, it's like a timeline thing that's happening and coming up to where I am now. So it's a journey into different ages that were rooted from the break then, from the distrust then, from, again, the shutters coming down, that they're opening as I go through different points in my life, echoing that truth, as you're calling it, is
As John
accessible.
Paul's calling it.
Exactly, as we're calling it together.
Yeah. Oh, got it. And then you did share a few more pictures with me, and one that obviously comes to mind is a 22-year-old version of you in a cricket sweater.
Yes.
So are we going to give him the truth? Did he need the truth?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So we're coming back up. Are you ready for the truth?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So this is for you then, whatever it is just take that extra time here.
That's beautiful, Karen. And this is actually also guiding me, because what's been coming up in my process deeply over the last couple of weeks And a calling in is really a commitment to letting go of all attachments that I have in my life. All attachments. All attachments. And that's when I say all, not just in this area of my life or this, it's really all attachments in ways that I perhaps hadn't been bold enough to ask for before, to use that word again. Because of fear of what I may or may not get, the fear of where it might not take me, the fear of what I might lose in the process. And it feels very strongly that I'm in that place of devotional commitment to myself that has been expanding for quite some time, but that it's matured to this place where the truth is really the ultimate liberation. And any attachments that I've been holding on to were not being in that truth, me trying to manipulate a reality for the sake of something outside of myself.
I love the little T and the big T, the truth.
Absolutely.
And
What
then
were you
you,
holding up there?
well, you said devotional. It was already in my hand. I bought it especially for you this evening, because I did hear you, goodness knows when, but you talked about wanting to go to Israel. And I was called there a few years ago because I got Jerusalem stone put in my house on the floor
Wow.
in the hallway. And I didn't know it was from Jerusalem. I thought it was just called Jerusalem stone, being the designer I am. And I went there. I've been to Jerusalem, and this is holy water. And it's just funny because it also says the Jordan River, and we've talked about river, we've talked about water. You brought up the word devotional. You know, I use your word. Your words are let go and let God. And when you first ever said it, I was like, what? And now I'm like, yeah, I like, of course. So that's one of my favorites. So I'm just going to, this is, I just feel called to do it. I was actually just going to share it with you somehow, but I just want to bless me, bless you, and bless John Paul and that whole transformation. As you came up, just as you'd started talking, I just had begun to feel something slip from my shoulders.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually could feel it coming down and just dropping. So, and then you started talking. I thought, no, I know it would have gone the whole way to the floor. I know it would have gone. And it was just like dropping, I don't know, dropping. It means something for you. I felt it. But the truth, love it. Like
Beautiful.
the
And I
little I
trust
and
the
the big I.
process.
We're back to
And I
the I
trust the
am.
process also. It's like the shamanic version where we had the session and then it continued with this vision and the tree and your father and the bow and arrow going through your father. I mean, that's so
Yeah.
it's such an amazing world that we explore in what we call spirituality. But it continues to unfold and we can expect a certain outcome, but the magic of what continues to unfold and how it presents itself, it makes the living so juicy and amazing.
I love that. Well, I'm wary of time, and I still had loads more questions, but it's just so lovely to actually get into them and understand them, because I think understanding it, it's all very well going alignment, divine connection, but if we can't connect to each other, which, you know, clearly we can with eye contact and things like that. And I'm going to tie two things quickly together as well. James Bond, he has gadgets. What does Sacred Bond have in his backpack? I mean, for me, because I'm going to be, you know, I am Sacred Bond too. We're all Sacred Bond. We are, if you have a bond to your heart and the bond to an alignment to the divine, we're sacred. And what I was going to say is, in my backpack, for instance, to discern the truth. So that is a superpower. So I'm going to put actually my superpowers in my gadget bag. Okay. I've cheated there, but I don't care because it's my show. There you go. And also, you know me. And then the other thing is, another gadget of mine would be, undivided attention. So it'd be a little bit like, a target, but zeroing in, whoom, because that's where we get the moments, and that's where you get the sacredness and just feeling them. And even in this, and not even within this chat with you, there have been moments when I had to take a breath and really it hit, and that was on target. So Mr. Sacred Bond, what is your gadget that you will be taking with you on your next mission? And whether you can even let us know where your next mission is.
Yeah, there's quite a few, but the sacred gadget, I'm really aware and I'm embracing the power of devotion. It's like, what am I really devoted to? And being in a bond with that. I mean, really in really showing up for that. And again, that's that truth coming forward. And so the energy of that devotion, really focusing on where I am investing and why I am investing. It's not a particular thing, but it's what's that sacred commitment that's flowing from me. And because it is that sacred, that it's not my mind that's leading it, but the creation where that stream is guiding me is beyond anywhere that I could have anticipated. And I'm not doing it for that, but that calling is still coming through. So the devotional energy that I'm falling into, truly falling into trust and faith in a way that I don't believe I've ever experienced it before. And some sacraments that I take in there, stillness time is very important for me every morning. 5-12 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long time, but being still. And maybe music will take me there, but I want to make sure that I'm not focused on the music, that it's providing the gateway into a connection where, if you will, my crown opens, that I'm connected into the resonance of the benevolence of Earth. Because we can connect into the Earth, but we can collect to a lot. So really being intentional as to who and what and why we're connecting, and being in receivership of that guidance that's coming for me, through me, because I'm wired for it. I mean, it's really my commitments as a soul, my devotion that my soul truly has for me as I walk this journey as human John or John Paul. And that's just guiding me to places that I felt before, but couldn't quite open up. And then all of a sudden the opportunities are just beautifully expanding. And things are grounding in and landing. But it's not because I have an expectation of what it will be. I'm really following that beacon that's calling me along the way. So that's leading me to a project that's been dear and for me for a long time, but traveling the world, going to different places, exploring cultures, but sharing that with larger audiences. I've traveled the world, I've experienced different cultures, but it's been very intimate to me. And the calling came up not too long ago to go to sacred sites and to go with other people who have pure intention, pure heart, that they're wired to peer into the energetics of the place, what's been imprinted there for the sake of our evolving consciousness and the technology of that land. And the key that it really takes to unlock that wisdom, because that wisdom just won't be given to be given. We really have to meet it in a place of devotion. There really is different access points. We just can't go there so we can energetically write graffiti all over it and then just leave and go, thank you, I got something from it. there's a reverence.
Mm.
And if we're going to be an audience of kings and queens, then who do we have to be in that audience? And I've put together a project where we're going to go into sacred sites, and we're going to create episodes from it and pitch it to different TV networks. But the first journey that we're inviting people to begins in Egypt at the end of September 2024. We've got it all planned out. We're just about ready to launch it into community, and it's going to be very exclusive. We've got 5 psychic channels, again, these luminaries, these stewards of the earth that I'll call, that are coming along on the journey. So together, what could we amplify within each other to have those codes, to unlock those gateways that are absolutely there? We've just been thinking that we need to go through it through the history or finding secret chambers, and it's through the power of our purity, the power of our awakened consciousness, the power, our devotion, and the power of our intention of our why. And with the why, the how will show up, that I know. So it's going to be a beautiful journey. It's going to be powerful. Right now we have Jamie Price is co-creating this with me right now. Stuart Pierce, who you know as well, Meg Benedicte, Wendy Kennedy. I feel like we have an Indigenous Egyptian also. So everywhere we go on these sacred sites, we're always going to have an Indigenous channel wise person to be there, because we have to honor. There's so much wisdom there, and because we have public interest and our audiences is worldwide, doesn't necessarily make us the experts of showing up. So we wanted to bring in and honor each of the cultures and be in reverence of the wisdom that they carry, and to take an offering as we receive the gifts of their ancestry at the same time.
I get that. That's
Mhm.
it's seriously big. It's
Yeah.
like that's a big key. With that culmination of the spiritual experts, but with this one intention to let it unfold, because it's unscripted. You don't know who's going to come through. We just don't know. And yet that could be the next, I don't know, or not even the next anything. It could be, well, yeah, I mean, I wonder. I'm left with the words I wonder, which is also an emotion that's a good one to have for a curious seeker.
I'm aware of the wonders that present themselves when we show up in unity consciousness, and we show up in our mastery, when we remember who we are and walk that path, not from an ego perspective, but really understanding the realness that lives inside of us, and to demonstrate that.
The truth.
The truth, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it is. And you brought in that word purity. And that's a word I have been working with for many years. I used to pick 3 words a year to sort of set the scene, to set the intention. And I would ponder over these words forever. And it was pure. And then that wasn't good enough. Was it purity? No, that's an adjective. But just hearing it say it's purity. I mean, we don't have to get analytical. Truth, it's truth. We don't have to get analytical. It's a call.
Feel it, you know it.
Exactly, it's sacred. So, well, this sounds all exciting, very exciting. And so when are you going to let people know? Because I'm sure people will be like, hello, hand in the air, you know, definitely wanting to know more.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
we're just about ready to launch, and it's funny because I'm feeling the time pressure because it's so close.
Join the club.
Yeah,
The time pressure when you said yes to me was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
And accelerate things. It's all progressing beautifully, but I'm starting to take applications from people now. We're having the final agreements coming in place because we want to make sure everything's lined up, because we are filming to put it onto a network, and not necessarily filming the individuals that are going to be traveling with us, really filming more the sacred places that we're going to, the luminaries and their channel as it comes through. Um, but we want to make sure that we honor everybody's intention of being there, and also with the awareness that they may be caught on film. And so we have agreements in place. We're getting permits from the departments of the ministries and the interiors in Egypt to get everything properly aligned to have the filming take place, because what we receive, we also get to share with others. And that's why I wanted to film. That's why I wanted to go out to a big network. So anybody who participates is aware that they're not just as a tourist, but also there as a steward for the harmonics that they're attuning to as well, and that they're sharing those harmonics into a bigger collective, not just for those who are privileged enough to be at these places and have the resources to travel there, but for anybody who might be interested in having access to that intelligence that's ready for all of us to be with, to build with.
I just got a little peek there that John Paul is so on your board of directors because that was so him. You know, you want to share, but you want the authenticity of the people. You want the truth. You want to share it truthfully. No hidden agendas.
No, that can't take place.
So that was just, I mean, that lights me
Love
up.
that.
And I can imagine people listening. It's lit quite a lot of people up. I mean, we could talk forever, and there is quite a lot that I haven't even gone on to do and say, but perhaps another time in the future, another divine appointment.
I would love that. There's so much that we
At
can
the divine
do in that dive into.
exchange.
Yes.
And well, I couldn't be more thrilled or more touched for your, I mean, I know you hold hands, and it's a big thing to me when somebody holds your hand spiritually and they don't leave your side, and they can either reach out or withdraw, but you have that support, and you do that with your guys in your membership, and you share a lot of fun. I mean, for us, once we actually haven't laughed as much as both of us usually laugh, because you can feel this is the real deal. This is the work we're here to do. This is the work we're here to share. And you know what? It's not work. It's how it is.
Yeah,
So
this is the beauty we get to experience with one another. Again, my connection with you and the affection that I have for you, it's beautiful. And it's that door that's always open when we meet each other, and that resonance, and we know where to find it. And it's just as easy as an email or a phone call, or sometimes even a telepathic message away.
I think it might have been a telepathic one, this one,
I
for
agree.
sure. But I think, you know what? You kicked my ass with regard to getting me to actually do what I was thinking and what was on paper, which you didn't know anything about. And vice versa. Now I've called you out and you're going, okay, we're ready. And this Egypt trip sounds fantastic. And what a sacred bond, what a sacred mission to go and unlock the keys to these sacred sites. I wish you so much joy in that. And I might even be looking at my diary for September. But, for now, I know we have to go, because it would have been, we could go on forever.
We can. Yeah.
Yeah. Next lifetime. No. So for tonight, thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day. Is there anything you want to add or say?
Just such an honor to be here with you. Thank you for creating this. The quality that you bring, the aesthetics that you imprint, the intentionality, it's your gift, truly. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for that big, amazing personality that you radiate out into the world. Yeah, you help us all remember how important these sacred bonds are.
This is why John is John, because he is the guy. I can just say ditto back. I honor you. I reflect you. Yeah, I hold you in high esteem. And I wish you a very good day. So to you and everyone, namaste.
Blessings, namaste.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.